As long as we've been doing this, for us, it's a good shot in the arm, because it's really exciting not just to put a record out, but to do something that's this diverse and this different and...
No limits.
Yeah, no limits.
My first question is, what does no rules mean? When you're making this Reboot 2, what does no rules mean?
Relative to this record, Reboot 1 was the mandate was just kind of keep the production and the songs somewhat, between the lines, not deviate too far from the original. For some reason, we were kind of afraid, because diehard fans in general don't care for other versions of you deviating too much from the norm. This one, the message was sent out to all the artists and stuff. You pick the song, you do it like you want to do it, and we'll fall in line. We'll be in the studio, kind of work with you if you want to, and it turned it into a whole new thing. It was a blast. Great time.
There were some things on the first one that kind of kept us there. For instance, I think except for Casey, Dan Huff produced that whole record pretty much with the same band too. So you have an artist that comes in, a couple of them, Luke Combs, for instance, John Party on the first record, they go, man, we just want to cut this thing like you did. Brand New Man and Next Broken Heart, both pretty close to the originals with, maybe a change in the lead writer or something like that. And Casey Musgrave, she was the only one who brought her own band in, asked if she could, and of course, do it. Most artists just came in, did their thing, and a lot of them worked with Dan anyway, so had a way to communicate and whatever, and got off the road a little bit. But as a rule, like Ronnie said, it just kind of organically stayed pretty close to original with some. You could tell there's nothing very extreme going on.
A lot of that was the artist's choice too. Luke Combs is already doing a couple of songs live, so they just let everybody kind of fall into the groove there. And in this one, Reboot 2, everything's off the rails.
They were also pretty much all country artists. So Casey, I guess you could call her Casey artist. She's not really obviously mainstream, but a lot of the artists pretty much all weren't really dedicated out of genre. This record, and Clarence Spalding, our manager, was really responsible for the idea in the beginning, and also with this one. And when he said, y'all want to do Reboot 2, I think both of us are like, I don't know, do we? But he was already talking about some different artists, He said, I'm looking at Marcus King, and I go, I love that guy, And Hailstorm is a, serious rock band for people that don't know. Kingfish, is an R&B guy from Memphis, B.B. King kind of guitar player. And a lot of artists, Morgan Wallen and Jelly Roll, and people that are really catching Hardy, that are catching their wave now. And a few up-and-comers that people may not be as familiar with, but most all of them have had some pretty good chart success. So everybody kind of, came in knowing what they were doing, but a lot of different artists brought their own bands in, brought their own producers, Jelly Roll and those guys. Well, Jelly Roll actually didn't. He stayed with Dan because Dan arranged it, but I can let Ronnie talk to that. But anyway, it was just a much wider picture as far as anything goes.
Like, who was at the top of your list? Like, who did you most want?
There was even in the plan or in the works. Clarence, our manager, like Kick said, just got on the phone. He said, I'm going to call artists one time. We're not going to bug anybody. Tell them what we're up to, and if they want to do it, then they can come to the table. Everybody did. So,
as far as we know.
Yeah.
You don't want to hurt our feelings.
What he's telling us.
You said that you let people choose the songs that they wanted to sing. To me, it seems like you would have a whole bunch of people who wanted to sing the same songs. Did that happen, or did everybody kind of come in?
Don't know about that. Don't know. We weren't made privy to that process. So that was just.
It's pretty. It's kind of a safe way for us to do it. We got a lot of buds in the business, So if you can blame it on your manager, that's always a good thing, and it's honestly the truth. He came and said, hey, Jelly Roll wants to do Believe and Da Da Da. Marcus wants to do Rock My World, which I got excited about because he's a guitar slinger, and sure enough, that one turned out great. But some of them, you don't know what people are going to do. I remember
There were some deep dives.
there was, for sure.
A few of them came in and did deep dives. They're not the obvious songs, and just that's fun to watch that. Watch those songs more. First and foremost, we're songwriters before we're Brooks and Dunn and all that stuff. But same thing Merle Haggard said. One day in the studio, he came in, he goes, I'm not, Merle Haggard's fine, but he says, I'm a songwriter. So it makes the process even more uniquely special.
Which one surprised you?
A lot of them surprised us.
For me, it's Get Out of Town, which wasn't a hit. It was just a song on an album, but we play it live, and we drive it pretty hard with the band. It's kind of morphed into a good rocking thing. And I love Cadillac 3. And I told Clarence, I said, man, I hope those guys could be on this record. And sure enough, that's what they came up with. And it's like nothing. I mean, Jaron came in with a total down in the mud swamp groove. And we both just looked at each other and went, whoa, okay. That was a part of the fun with a lot of these. When acts came in that sort of, especially acts with their bands, Thousand Horses did that too. They were kind of allowed, and Marcus came in with his band. So they've worked these songs up. They've already got their idea what they're gonna do. It's not like a regular session where you come in, how you wanna treat this? Well, I'd like to do it a little, no, it's like they set up and they hit letter A and you're like, holy crap, okay, that's what we're doing. And that was the only thing that Clarence guaranteed him. He goes, you can bring your band, you can bring however you wanna do it, we'll cut it wherever you wanna cut it, and the boys are gonna be there. So, we were committed to finding a way to be a part of this.
And let them work.
How did it feel to hear your songs reimagined in such a way?
Fun for me.
Refreshing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just it brought everything back to life. I mean, not that it was dead, but a lot of these songs came just with a whole different style, like Casey Musgrave did with Neon Moon. That's the one that actually off of Reboot 1 that made the most noise.
Is there anyone that you particularly enjoyed working with?
Marcus King. Marcus King was one that stepped in with his band. He said he's talking all the production stuff with the guys like a blues guitar superstar slinger should do. He's at the mic, playing the guitar at the same time. He's shouting out cues to his band, and they just ripped the hide off of it.
It was funny because it was a moment when he's just tearing it up, and with his band, they're in there, they came, they had it organized, and we're just loving it, Me and Ronnie are just looking at each other going, oh, hell yeah. And it was funny because he was kind of getting stopped on a 16-bar solo. It was like, I could tell, I felt like, not that I'm his guitar tech, but that he wasn't quite done yet, And I just asked Dan, I said, can I go pray with Marcus real quick? And he goes, yeah. So I just went in the room, I go, hey dude, 16 bars you're playing. I go, would it really piss you off if we made that like 32 bars? He goes, get your ass out of here. And then he gets on the mic, he goes, boys, this ain't no Nashville damn session. We're South Carolina rock stars, let's go. And man, they just tore into it. And yeah, to me, that extended solo is like, freaking awesome,
That's a great point. There were no formulas we weren't working with that 3-minute limitation. If he wants to take off and do a solo, rip it, man. Mm-hmm. Go.
Are there any more stories like that from the studio? That's fantastic.
Brand New Man. Warren Ziders. Okay, so he comes in. He's a little tentative, and at first, and some of them were, just kind of like they didn't know if they were waiting for production, direction or not. So you spend time in there just for a second, getting everybody to relax. And it's like, take it where you want to take it. So he kind of was getting stumped in the chorus, and the band we had could do anything, anywhere, L.A., New York, you name it. And I said, what if we take it, Warren, to a Nirvana? Let's go Nirvana on its ass. And sure enough, it was just, bam, there it went. Kingfish was fun too.
He was real cool. Yeah.
It was the same scenario. He's sitting in the room playing guitar and singing at the same time. And then Laney Laney shows up and she's dressed, in a Kix Brooks god awful, flame shirt, and bell bottoms with flames coming out of it. But she just brought everything to the level of intensity and fun. But the whole thing was fun. It really was. Hailstorm with Boots Scoot. Holy cow! The drummer shows up. We're supposed to be country guys, like we are, and the guy had green hair.
Her brother.
Can you imagine?
They've been together 20 years, That's a really good rock band.
Real good.
Dan Huff,
he kicks it off with that lick.
No kidding.
That drum lick, and everybody in the control room, you just felt the energy explode. Justin Nebate, the engineer, jumped up from the board and just started turning stuff because the volume was so loud and good. Just different stuff,
I was listening to Boots Scoot and Boogie on the way here, and I'm trying to imagine that.
Yeah.
As a rock song. How do you think people are going to respond?
Who knows?
Started out as a joke. A year ago, we were talking to Clarence. We were talking about how you could go in and repurpose some stuff and just take it way off the beaten path. And I said something about, imagine Metallica doing Boot Scoot Boogie, just tongue in cheek, And Hailstorm showed up and did just that.
They're a well-known rock band in certain parts of the world for sure. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of folks in country music who have no idea who they are. But it was really cool to see Dan Huff, who's a great rock guitar player, played with Giant and whatever, has a great history in LA. Badass rock guitar player. Just when they kicked it off, just to see him smile and looked over at me on the board and goes, these guys are really good. Awesome. Because this is not a garage band, They're a serious rock band. So I'm just thinking at the time, this is going to be fun to watch Ronnie jump in the middle of this, and he totally did. I couldn't wait when the tracks came over to me to do some backgrounds on it. And I'm like, hell yeah, go ahead, Slim. So it was fun to see him go toe-to-toe with her. Lizzie, by the way. Yeah, Lizzie Hale. Yeah. Great singer.
Tell me about Believe with Jelly Roll.
I don't know, 60, 70 piece orchestra, horns, everything. Huge choir.
Wow.
Yeah, we show up at the church studio, Ocean Way, which is a big converted church, obviously. Dan Huff's father, come to find out, was a string arranger in L.A. Yeah, so this was kind of something that Dan really wanted to dive into and got, I think at the last minute, got approval from Sony, who was great about the whole project.
Absolutely. In case you're wondering why the lights are out at Sony right now.
They pull the plug. We go, well, what about the money? They go, don't worry about it, just keep going, keep going.
We did.
We did. I guess. In today's time, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. It was money well spent, though. It's a hell of a cut.
Yeah. Well, you've earned it, right? I mean, you've been with them for...
A lot of artists say that don't get an opportunity like that.
I know, but I mean, goodness. You went into the Country Music Hall of Fame. You've been there for, I'm bad at math, but, more than 30 years at this point?
At one time, that music that you do is a depleting asset, okay, in theory, in a lot of ways. So things have changed now on the business plane where streaming's come along. That's one of the most surprising dynamics is the amount of money and effort that Sony is putting into the record.
When you think about your career and the power of the songs in your catalog that you recorded, why wouldn't they invest that money? And you remade these songs that already put you in the Country Music Hall of Fame with the top artists in the genre. They would be crazy not to give you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Watching you put this album.
Easy to say if you're not writing a check.
Right? I would love to show up and give them that speech and see the looks on their face.
Right.
Why would you not spend a fortune redoing these songs?
Jelly Roll wants an orchestra, Randy Goodman. Give him an orchestra.
But that's a tribute to good management right there. We've got to give kudos to Clarence Spalding in a big way. That's how things work in the business.
Tell me about working with Morgan. Because Morgan's all over the place right now. Tell me about working with Morgan Wallen.
Well, yeah, you'd expect him to be bouncing off the walls and whatever, but you know,
Or tired.
yeah, he came in his tracksuit. He's all fired up. He just worked out, you know, and just basically they had kind of already started playing with the track, I think, a little bit. Yeah. Joey had, but pretty much on the page from the original. I say it had maybe added a little salsa to it, you know. Just I think I've heard that.
The Latino.
Yeah, that word cha-cha over the years, you know, about people dancing to Neon Moon and whatever. And Sutton came in with a classical guitar, you know, and played a little Mexicali kind of vibe on there. And so it's got a real neat kind of south of the border vibe going on, but not really a huge departure.
Morgan by choice didn't want to take it. He said, you know, anywhere else.
Tell me about working with Megan, because you all toured with her a little bit, didn't you?
Uh-huh. She toured with us early on, really, when she, you know, just had her Tennessee Orange song going. But this was really fun because she's working with Christian Bush, who was with Sugarland as her producer. And Ronnie went over, I forget what studio they were at. It wasn't something that we've been working at, but was that Sound Emporium or something? I don't know. It's one of the old ones. She, you know, was just kind of on the piano, plunking around and just singing, and what a voice, like she hadn't quite gotten out of bed in the morning. And
she sounded like she'd been up for 3 days on a bender smoking Camel filterless cigarettes. And that's something we didn't hear out of that sweet little blonde out on, you know, in her white cowgirl boots on stage on tour. And really took Ain't Nothing About You to a place that was unexpected. Really fun. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite cuts.
Where do you hope this album takes people? It's such a reimagining of these songs. Who do you hope loves it, and where do you hope it takes people?
Well, a hair down memory lane, but for the most part, it's just taking the music to a progressive place. We've been touring for the last 3 years, three for the most part. Great crowds, as good as they ever were. And Kix will do a thing each night. He'll go, how many of you, raise your hand if this is your first stand-up or whatever, just make noise. If this is your first Brooks and Dunn concert, 3/4 of the audience are younger. It's a younger demographic. So this is just a way of throwing stuff out there that's got, you know, a little more edge at the same time, hoping not to at all in any way offend or put off the people that you know brought us to the dance.
I really hope people, like, after 3 songs, I hope they can't wait to punch to see what the next one's gonna do. I think it's the music, the attack, the approach to every one of these songs is totally different. So if I was, you know, and there's been, you know, over the years, I don't know, not collaborations necessarily, but tribute albums made that were just, you know, like Elton John songs or whatever, where different acts from different genres just really do their thing. And I think that was, you know, that's kind of what happened here. It was just we were lucky enough to get to be in the room and jump in there with them.
And witness it happen.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think for fans it's going to be, okay, they're doing it with them. I guess they're cool with it, but you know, so some of the takes are, you know, they're real left field, and some of them are right in there. But everything's on here from hard rock to bluegrass and everything in between. So I don't feel like we really left any musical stone unturned here.
Where should people go first? The album comes out. What do you hope they listen to first?
I don't know. I think people have their own way of listening to music, so I wouldn't want to guide them. Most people start at the beginning.
That sounds like a sequencing issue.
It is.
We had 18 songs, 18 artists. Like, how do we start this? How do we pace it? You know, you try to pace an album like you do your live set, live show.
You'd be surprised, though, how many people don't really do that anymore because of streaming.
It's a hard question to answer for that very reason, because people, they gravitate.
And
to
if they see a name they like, they want to hear Jelly Roll, or they, you know, or somebody who, I wonder what Marcus King did, or, you know, then they'll push their own. Yeah, they'll push the button for who they're the biggest fan of, most likely. And
you see what goes viral.
Yeah, if I saw Haggard on something, I'd probably go to that track first. I get it.
I love it. I remember a couple of years ago, didn't Neon Moon get a whole extra life with some DJ remixed it and made it Crazy.
I saw you doing the dance. Don't act like you don't know what you're talking about.
Now, see, everybody in this
What?
room knows your lion kicks, Brooks, because I don't dance.
I know there were a lot of people doing that dance that don't dance. I saw a raccoon doing that dance on TikTok. Okay.
But it just makes me think. I wonder, did that experience in any way influence this? Like, because I know that, like, when we talked about it, like, how many more people were introduced to Brooks and Dunn and Neon Moon just because of that one remix, and then now here we are with a whole album of artists introducing the songs to new generations.
Neon
of fans.
Moon and I guess the viral dynamic of that is probably the catalyst that kicked this off initially. I would say for sure.
Where do you want to see this album go? Like, what are your plans for it going forward?
It'll turn it loose and let it eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
See what happens.
It's the kind of record that we really, it's like your ticket's going on sale, honestly. It's like you feel really good about things or you wouldn't be going on tour. But at the same time, when tickets go on sale, you cross your fingers. And when this record's released, socials are gonna go crazy. And it's just, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna go, what? And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go, holy cow, I love this. That's what I think. That's what I hope. What are we going to do with it? This thing's going to take a life on of its own.
It's going to be interesting to watch it, watch what happens.
Watching your audience, I think, change and grow, and the dynamic is going to be super cool.
And as long as we've been doing this, for us, it's a good shot in the arm, because it's really exciting not just to put a record out, but to do something that's this diverse and this different and
No limits.
Yeah, no limits. So it's kind of fun. I guess, the songs have already been hits, most of them, so that pressure's off. Now it's just, what about this adaptation? Is it going to be accepted or not? And it's hard to believe at some level it's not going to be accepted.
Does that just make it more fun?
It does. It makes it exciting for sure. Because you have to be...
Stepping up into the great unknown.
I know. You have to be prepared when you hang it out there like that to accept a certain amount of rejection. Because it's not like we're just making another Brooks and Dunn record.
What's your prediction for the song that's going to get the most, pushback?
That's a good question. You just have to get selfish and gravitate to what our favorite song is. The Neon Moon was mine coming out of Reboot 1. Reboot 2 going in could be
Boot Scoots, more obviously the one that I think is kind of sacred ground for a lot of fans that we just slam the hell out of. So
Boot Scoot might create a wave. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. I would say Ain't Nothing About You with Megan, Mitchell Tenpenny, Ain't No Way to Go, and we've already talked about different genres with Marcus King.
Hardy banged on
Hardy
Hillbilly
got on
Deluxe real hard.
really hard. He leaned into it. That's a good track.
Yeah, but it's rocking.
And then if you want to
It's
go,
not just rocking. It's head banging rocking.
So they did give Hailstorm a run for their money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. If you're going to put two together, they'll run
Absolutely.
Run parallel. Jake Worthington singing "Never Forget My Heart," this hardcore country. Down, so it goes from one spectrum to the other.
Thank you very much for coming to sit on our couch today.
You bet.
And tell us all about Reboot 2.
You got it.